3 is a streak. The Detroit Tigers have won 3 consecutive ball games. We talk about that as well as the happenings in the American League Central as we approach the trade deadline at the end of the week. We'll do that and more all today at Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Welcome in, welcome all. You know, in the cold open there, I said we'll talk about that and more today at Locked On Tigers. I don't think I've ever said that before. Usually it's on Locked On Tigers, but whether it's on or at or whatever, we are here talking about a miraculous 12-2 victory over the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Tigers improved to 63-46 on the season, and that is a 3-game winning streak. They now have a 9-game lead in the American League Central. We'll talk about the American League Central a little bit at the end of the show. Arizona falls to 51-57 for what that is worth. So, first off, great win. Absolutely fantastic victory. Offense crushes awful pitching. Part 2, the pitching is able to keep down a really solid and good Diamondbacks lineup. This is already a series win, 3 wins in a row, etc. Season high 19 hits, they said on the broadcast. Riley Greene hitting the baseball. It's always a beautiful thing. Vibes are just immaculate. And as I said yesterday and on Monday, you know, I think it is just very important for the Tigers to go into the deadline winning ball games. If they would have continued to slide and skid as they were doing for most of July, I think, I don't know, morale might have been low, or just like, the optics, which don't really matter, but like, I feel as though it is only a positive thing to win. That's a stupid statement. I should honestly just like cut that out, but I won't. It's good to win games. Shocker. Nice job, Bentley. Good job. Buyers at last, though. It has been 10 years since they've been buyers at the trade deadline. Maybe like 2016, I guess, could have been like soft buying, but like it's been a long time. Okay, it's been a long while. Even that's about a decade ago, and that's a beautiful thing that we're back in this position where the Tigers are looking to get better at the trade deadline. So what went right? I do not want this to get lost on anybody. Okay, I want to make this abundantly clear. Yes, the offense put up 12 runs. Fantastic day at the office for the bats. And we'll talk about all of the bats that did well. Brant Herter was the star of the show. 3 1/3, 1 hit, no run, no walks, 3 strikeouts. His ERA is now back down to 2.68, mind you. This was so important. Your starting pitcher gets bounced very, very early. And instead of using a billion relievers or using a low leverage reliever because you are losing when Mize exits the game, you're losing and he doesn't even make it out of the second inning. Vibes are not high in that moment. Instead of A, using a million relievers, or B, going to just a low leverage reliever and just kind of being like, well, this game is, we got to save bullets and this is just what it's going to have to be. They go to Brant Herter and he is phenomenal. Unhittable against left-handers, for starters. it was just the 2-pitch mix. It was just the 2-seam fastball and the big sweeper, slider, whatever you want to call it. And he was dotting. The best command I've seen from him in quite some time. He got off to a fantastic start this season and then went through a really brutal rough patch. And now, over the last couple of weeks, has been a lot better again. And that is a massive part of this bullpen. We talk all the time about how, bad this bullpen has been for a while. They desperately need to add relievers at the trade deadline. So badly. It is the top priority, ahead of another starting pitcher, ahead of any bats offensively. They need to add serious bullpen help. And if guys like Brant Herter, and obviously like if Tommy Kahnle can snap out of it and get to doing what he was doing in the first half, if these guys that we thought were going to be big pieces and have struggled can get back to being big pieces, that is also, again, obviously going to help the team a lot. So shout out Brant Herter, man. I really, it's hard to call him like the MVP when you put up, 12 runs. Like Riley Greene had 3 RBIs. We'll talk about him. But I really do think this game goes very, very differently if Brant Herter doesn't do what he did. Tyler Holton also. We'll just stick on pitching here really quickly before we get to the bats that did well in this game. 1 inning of perfect baseball. It was just an inning, but golly, that got me saying golly. Like that was legitimately one of the best innings I think he has thrown all year. Perfect baseball, 2 strikeouts. His ERA is now down to 3.4. He looked dominant. The cutter, phenomenal. The curveball, phenomenal. I genuinely think that might be his best outing of 2025. Now let's talk about the offense that, as I said earlier, crushed bad pitching, and that is always a good thing. Yeah, man. Like, Fott didn't throw well through batting practice. Arizona's bullpen is really injured, and the guys that they have that they're throwing out there are not very good to major league standards, obviously, and the Tigers took advantage of that. Fott's ERA is now over 5, man. Kerry Carpenter, the return of King Carpenter, 3 for 5 with 2 doubles. And honestly, more important than even the hits, you see him run. I thought he looked pretty darn good running. I thought he looked healthy. He did not look like he was in like serious pain like he did, obviously, before going on the injured list and when he was just trying to play through it and not going on the IL. I thought he ran really, really, I mean, like he's not fast. Like he's never going to be a plus runner. I'm not trying to say he was, a speed demon out there, but he looked healthy. And that's very important. So good for Kerry Carpenter. Glad that he is back, obviously. The star of the show is either Riley Greene, Kerry Carpenter, or Wenceel Perez, who finishes a home run away from the cycle, goes 3 for 5. That last at-bat, he went righty-righty, technically. The ball was going in at 40 miles an hour, and there was a position player on the mound, but he didn't even go righty-lefty. Like he stayed in the right-handed batter's box, which I thought was kind of funny. And again, something that might get overlooked outside of just what he did in the batter's box is the steals. The Detroit Tigers are dead last in all of baseball in stolen bases, and he had a pair of them in this ball game. We know Zach McKinstry has been stealing a lot more when he's been on base lately. If they can be a little bit better, I'm not asking for, to be the Tampa Bay Rays that just steal a billion bases a game. I'm not asking to be that. If you can just not be the worst team in baseball in terms of stolen bases, I think that could be something that, helps you, maybe steals you a game here or there, no pun intended, steals you a game here or there down the stretch. So tip of the cap to Wenceel Perez. Let's keep talking about the offense. We'll talk about what went wrong in this game. Obviously, that's going to be Casey Mize. We'll highlight that. Then we'll talk about what we are looking at here as the trade deadline approaches. We'll do all of that right after this. First, though, got to talk to y'all about our friends over at Game Time. We've all been there, okay? Logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show that you have been absolutely dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping, and that is where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. If you're tired of endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal, Game Time's zone deals pick the best seats in your section for you. If you have ever wondered what your seats, your view of your seats will look like before you buy, well, the app shows you a panoramic view of your seats before you pay, so there is no hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we, of course, will be back tomorrow recapping this series finale against the Diamondbacks and preparing you for the trade deadline on Thursday. Today, though, we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the show today, too. But first, we have to get through this 12-2 victory over the Diamondbacks, while the Mets are considering a Luis Robert Jr. trade. Oh, and Cedric Mullins. Interesting. I just have every post notification for like every beat writer in the Northern Hemisphere turned on. So it's Northern Hemisphere, Western, whatever. Every beat writer in the country. And so I just get nonstop trade deadline news and notes literally all day. Dylan Dingler was absolutely fantastic in this ball game. Goes 2 for 4 with 2 RBI at the plate. Also, incredible framing. Incredible. And I know they talked about in the first inning the play where he could have framed or he could have gone down to third instead, whatever. Incredible framing throughout this entire ball game, was stealing strikes left and right. Not a great day behind the plate by the home plate umpire, but part of that has to do with how good at receiving the baseball Dylan Dingler is. So tip of the cap to one of the better catchers in the American League this year in Dylan Dingler, hitting .281 with a .755 OPS and incredible defense. That is a valuable, valuable asset to have. Then we get to Riley Greene. 3 for 4, 3 for 5, 3 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBI. Please be back. Please. Please, please, please be back. I've said it a million times. The Diamondbacks pitching staff is an atrocity, okay? But please just be back. We miss you. We miss you, Riley. We miss you so much. It's so crazy. It shows how good he is, that given the brutal stretch he went on in April and the brutal stretch he has been on in July, his season stats are still .275, .849 OPS, and is already in the mid-20s in home. I forget what exactly his home run total is. I guess I can look down at my sheet here. 26 home runs in July. And that's with 2 brutal stretches where he couldn't buy a hit. Let's just go smooth sailing the rest of the way. Take us to October, Riley. Zach McKinstry with a home run, also had a double, but that was all of a position player, so whatever. He had been struggling mightily. Zach McKinstry, we talk a lot about Riley Greene because he should be the best hitter. Zach McKinstry, since coming back from the All-Star break, has legitimately 1 or 2 hits. So good to see him get back in the swing of things. No pun intended there. Man, I'm just a machine today. Andy Ibanez, 2 for 2 with an RBI. Beautiful to see that. He's been obviously on fire in the 2 games back from the minor leagues. Gleyber Torres with another home run. I feel like every time I criticize Gleyber's power he goes on like a mini home run stretch, or just like hits a homer, I guess I should say. I don't know, kind of funny. And then Luke Jackson, 2 innings pitched, the lowest of low leverage, but 2 innings pitched of perfect baseball with 2 strikeouts. We'll gladly take that. What went wrong? Obviously, this conversation, you could just start it and end it with Casey Mize. 1 2/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Now, he leaves the game only giving up 1 earned run, which is not the worst thing in the world. His ERA is 3.43 now, which is obviously perfectly fine over the course of a full season. But this game was one where if you watched it, you understand that this was not a very good performance. Anytime you can't get out of the second inning and you got a pitch count pushing 70 in that, what was his final pitch count? 59, so pushing 60 rather. 0 command. He had no splitter outside of one. He had one, I think it was to McCarthy, one of the best splitters he's thrown over his last couple of starts. Absolute beauty, goes fastball inside, full count or 2-2 count, then goes splitter low and in, gets a nice swing and miss on it. Outside of pretty much that pitch, his command was all over the place. Fastballs over the heart of the plate, splitters over the heart of the plate. The slider was completely ineffective. This is a problem that has plagued him for most of his major league career and has plagued him throughout this season as well. He cannot consistently finish hitters off. Like, he just can't. It's not a new issue. I agree with the move to take him out. It is just something that he has to continue to try and work through and work for. Like, he has the ability to tightrope out of danger and to induce weak contact, get a ground ball when he needs it, get a pop-up when he needs it. We've seen that since his rookie season, to be honest, or his second year, I guess, since 2021. We've seen that ability in him. But until he gets, whether it's one pitch or a couple of pitches or a sequence of pitches, whatever it might be, until he gets a consistent, there's 2 strikes, and I desperately need a swing and miss or desperately need, a strikeout here. Where am I going? The splitter just hasn't been that, and neither have any of the breaking balls. I still think you should acquire a starting pitcher. And some people online, I put that out there after this outing, pushed back on that a little bit. I understand that if Melton maintains this, that you technically have 5 starting pitchers, but with the amount of injuries they have faced, with the concern around Mize, and there's speculation on if he's hurt or not now, like with just how fragile any rotation in baseball is in the sport nowadays, I think it would be incredibly smart for the Tigers to invest in at least one more starting pitcher. That doesn't mean it has to be like give up McGonigal for Skeens. Like I'm not asking for an ace or a top line starter. I do think it would be in their best interest to acquire another starting pitcher, though. Chase Lee, I also didn't think was very good. He walks out of this with no runs. Maybe I'm just being like a Debbie Downer and being a stickler here. 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. A lot of ones there. ERA is now at 4.10 on the season. He was all over the place, and the stuff didn't really play. I've been a huge defender of his this season. I didn't think he was very sharp in this one. And then the last one will just end on Matt Vierling. Didn't have a great day at the plate. He goes 0 for 3 with a hit by pitch. I feel like he's been hit by like 3 or 4 pitches already, and he hasn't even played that many games. Obviously his numbers have not been very great. He hit 9 in this ball game. And I just feel like every at bat, kind of like noodle bat. Like I just feel like every time he's in the batter's box, it's been a ton of ground balls since coming back from injury. That's it on the ball game. Really solid all around. Not too much negative to say. Anytime you win by 10 runs, everyone's going to be a happy camper. Let's talk about the rest of this week in our stuff category, and then we'll preview very briefly the series finale against the Diamondbacks. We'll do that right after this. Got to talk to y'all about our new friends over at 5 Hour Energy. It's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course, or off the course even, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized and get through the day. Just on the golf course. A couple of weeks ago, my roommate just went golfing earlier this week, came home very sunburnt, probably could have used a little bit more energy out there at some point as well. And 5 Hour Energy has been offering that for many years now and continues to do so. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors of the course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off of your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th and one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders either. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. All right, everybody, welcome back here to the third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in as always. So I want to just kind of break down the American League Central here. Obviously broke down the win. Wow, Andrew Vaughn, just Milwaukee's on an absolute heater. So this was a great ball game, great win. The American League Central heading into the trade deadline. You have Kansas City, you have Chicago, who's obviously like selling, might trade Robert Jr., is not very good. Then you have Minnesota. Who knows what they are ever doing, really. I never know. Minnesota could be one of the better teams in the American League, but they can't stay healthy. They also are having like weirdly down years from usually good players. Just absolutely ridiculous baseball team. I never know. They could win 10 in a row or lose 10 in a row at any moment. I think they should probably trade their relievers to maximize that, Jax and Duran. I think that's probably in their best interest, but who knows? They don't have to move those guys, and they might not. The other teams, the last two teams there, are where I want to focus because I think they're the most interesting, and they are the closest to the Detroit Tigers in terms of the standings. They're still technically kind of in the wild card hunt as well. Cleveland 3.5 out of the wild card. Kansas City 4.5 out of the wild card. I guess Minnesota's only 5, so there you go. Kansas City, okay, they are buying, which is, gutsy. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're 10 games back from the division lead, and like I just said, they're 4.5 out of the division. They're 3 games under 500. They're not only buying, they're extending Seth Lugo instead of trading him. Again, very gutsy. Very gutsy. Seth Lugo has been phenomenal for the Royals. Absolutely phenomenal. I wish I could go back in time and tell the Tigers to take that deal because it has worked out wonderfully for them. Okay, he's turned into one of the better pitchers in the American League over the last 2 years. He's not getting any younger, and the Royals need bats to fill out their lineup. Now, that doesn't mean they don't need, a really good starting pitcher too, but this is just a really bold move to me for this team to kind of go, not necessarily all in on this year, I won't say, but just kind of doubling and tripling down on like this team with this players will take us to where we want to be at some point in the near future. Tip of the cap. Okay, I always am in favor of teams actually trying to win because we see far too often a lot of teams just don't. Okay, there are Pirates fans everywhere that are wishing that their front office would do what we've seen the Royals do in the last week. Now, that being said, I'm not sure it's going to pay off for them in 2025. Cleveland, wowzers. More gambling allegations coming out of Cleveland. Ortiz earlier in the year was having a solid year for Cleveland. He goes down, probably is not going to pitch for the rest of the season. And now Emmanuel Clase, Kerry Carpenter's son, but Emmanuel Clase, who was put up one of the best relief pitching seasons we have literally ever seen in 2024. This year, not having as good of a year, but is obviously one of the bona fide and premier closers. Did I say starting pitcher? Relief pitcher. One of the premier closers that this entire sport has to offer, maybe the best closer that this sport has to offer. Now, he is under investigation and is suspended. Cleveland is sub 500. They're playing the Rockies right now, so like whatever. They are under 500, 9 games out of first in the division. What did I say? 3.5 out of probably 3 if they end up winning this game against Colorado, which they will. Back from the wild card, and now are losing one of their most valuable assets. Not a great place to be. I wonder if that changes the direction that they will head for this week's trade deadline. There was rumors about them trading Clase. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. But they still have other dudes, Cade Smith. They still have other dudes in their bullpen that they could get value for. Very interested to see what Cleveland does. Only other thing I want to talk about in stuff, just really quickly, is Kevin McGonigal is ranked the number 1 prospect in baseball by multiple publications. Fangraphs just came out with their updated rankings post-draft. Kevin McGonigal, number 1 in the whole sport. Just Baseball as well. Great people over at Just Baseball. Shout out Clay Tigers. But they're everybody that's associated with Just Baseball. I have just had nothing but positive experiences with. So shout out to them. But Kevin McGonigal ranked as their number 1 prospect in baseball as well. That is really exciting. He is going nowhere. Hate to drop that truth bomb on you, but Kevin McGonigal is not getting traded, and he shouldn't. And I'm very excited for him to be a Detroit Tiger. Okay, you're up 2-0. Go for a sweep. Buy more assets. Buy. Okay, buy, and that's not like everyone know. Like we're almost 20 games over 500. Obviously, you're buying, but like do something. No, I don't want Chris Paddock to be the only addition this team makes. Okay, go out, buy some relievers, buy multiple relievers. You need serious bullpen help. Go get multiple relievers. Go get another starter if you feel like it. Go get a bat if you feel like it. Let's take this team to October, and let's see what happens. It's going to be Chris Paddock making his Detroit Tigers debut against Ryan Nelson. Broadcast did a great job of pointing this out. This dude throws almost all fastballs. So buckle up. Be ready. We'll end the show by saying rest in peace to Ryan Sandberg, the great Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Famer. Rhino, an absolute baseball legend on and off the field. Thinking and praying for his family, for obviously the city of Chicago, for Cubs fans everywhere, and really just the baseball community. This is a guy that really transcended just the city of Chicago and became a very, important and historical figure in the game of baseball. So rest in peace to the great Rhino, and we'll be back tomorrow. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.